Okay, hi everyone. This video is to guide you through your GA, which is due this Friday. Okay, so remember I told you when you do your questions, remember to APC. Okay, don't jump into answering directly. Remember to APC. A is to analyze and annotate your question. I don't want to see clean questions. I want to see evidence that you have analyzed and annotate them. P is to plan your answer. Make sure that it answers the question. Okay, what are the points that you're going to talk about? Have you sequenced it logically? Okay, because whenever we think of something, it comes all over the place. But we need to plan and sequence it logically so that the answer is much clearer and makes more sense. Okay, and lastly, when you finish APC, the last one is to check if you've answered the question. Okay, so I'll start with analysis first for question 1A. 1A, you need to use photograph A because you need to refer to it, right? Okay, you need to explain. Remember I told you need to tell me the steps, all right? So what are the first step and last step? I must explain how the space shown. So the space is the first step. First step, okay, help to contribute to the student's sense of place. Okay, so this is the last step. So I must show how the space, okay, whatever that's shown here, lead to sense of place or enhance the sense of place. Okay, so 2 marks means probably just 2 steps only lah. All right, first step is about describing the place and show me how it leads to that sense of place. Okay, now if you were to refer to your notes, if you forget what the concepts are, it's okay. This GA is to help you recap also. Now if you refer to your notes CW7, this one over here on sense of place, I think Miss Razi has done it with you. All right, you would have remembered that sense of place refers to meaning of a place. Okay, so a person have sense of place if there's meanings and M&Ms are meaning and memories attached to it. Okay, so how does it contribute to the students' meaning and memory of this place over here? All right, what does this place have that help contribute to the sense of place? Okay, so maybe I do my planning first. Okay, so now I finish analysis of question. Let me do my planning. So my last step, I need to say how it helps students form certain meaning. If it's meaning, you must tell me what's the meaning, what's the memories of the place. So this is like canteen, so let's put canteen then. Okay, so the first step, I must talk about what the place has that will lead to students forming what specific meanings and what memories. Is it friendship? Is it school events? Or what? Be clear about it. Okay, now in your notes you also have learned that there's 3 main ways how people can have their sense of place. It can be repeated encounters, because repeated encounters in the place, they go to this place frequently, so there's a lot of interaction, a lot of memories of this place. Okay, it could be because this place has certain landmarks, is very special, looks special, very unique landmarks and features, or because significant events have happened here. Okay, so the first step, you need to think which of these 3 is relevant and tell me more about this place, and then how it then leads to having students forming certain meanings or memories of the canteen. Okay, you need to specify what's the meaning and memories. All right, so then you need to check, does this lead to this, and this, it answers the question. Okay, then we have done our APC and you can write it out. All right, let's go to the next question. Question B. You're given a diagram, okay, spatial hierarchy in a Singapore town, A, B, and C. You're asked to identify. Identify means just to name. Okay, so name what is the level here. All right, so you have learned different spatial hierarchy. If you forgot what they are, you can refer to CW10, that we had a recap of it. Okay, or the previous one, CW9, where you learn about spatial hierarchy. So you learn that there's precincts, neighborhood, and town. Which one is this? You need to identify. All right, so just give me the name. Now the next one, you're supposed to describe. Describe means give me details. Describe the relationship between the hierarchy levels A, B, and C. Okay, so you must tell me the details. Between A and B, what's the relationship? Between B and C, what's the relationship? All right, so when you describe, right, so we've done analyzing the question, right? Okay, so let's plan. So we need to describe A with B. Describe relationship between A and B, then describe relationship between B and C. So you tell me what's the relationship plus further details. Okay, so you tell me what's the relationship, 1 mark, further details, 1 more mark. Okay, and then same thing for here, tell me what's the relationship, further details. So what's relationship? Relationship is how one affects the other. Okay, so how does A affect B? How does this level affect this level? Or how does this level affect this level? All right, and tell me the details. What does it then lead to? Okay, and then after that you must go on to after that then go on to B and C. Okay, how does this affect this? How does C affects B? And then what does it lead to and stuff like that. All right. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Part C. Part C, part 1. You're supposed to identify a pair of services found in photograph B that has spatial association. So if you look at photograph B, these are things. Can you tell me one pair of services? Is it bus lah? Is it MRT? Is it shopping or whatever? Is it housing? Okay, whatever it is, can you tell me one pair that has spatial association? What is spatial association? If you were to look at your note CW10, okay, you look at the second page, third page. Spatial association means that there's a tendency for a pair of something to always be found close to each other. Okay, and remember, if it leads to benefits to each other, it's considered synergy. Okay, so you must be able to explain, identify which pair has spatial association. Tell me which are the two services. And then you must use figure 2 and photograph B as well to explain how the spatial association helps enhance the everyday living of the residents. Okay, so the spatial association identified in part 1, that is your step 1. Okay, and then this is your last step. Okay, so 3 marks is probably 3 steps. So the last step, you must tell me how it enhances the everyday living. Okay, now enhances, I remember I told you a good explanation, don't just copy. So let's planning now. A good explanation, don't copy from the question, they unpack. Now what do you mean by enhancing the everyday living of residents? Do you mean it's more convenient? You better meet their needs. You meet their needs, what needs is it that is met? Okay, or they improve their health, or things like that, or you have learned about quality of living and standard of living, quality of life and standard of living. Okay, so this question is very open. There's multiple ways you can talk about how to enhance the everyday living. You can just pick one, don't need to talk about all. Okay, because the focus is not about this. The focus is just explaining how it leads to this. Okay, so you must first step, you must give me details of the spatial association. Okay, that's 1 mark. Then you tell me what does it lead to. You need to plan out your answer. And then how does it then lead to enhancement in everyday living? That's the last mark. Okay, this question is very open. There's multiple ways to answer this, so don't be scared. Your thinking so far has been quite good. Okay, so don't be afraid to use your thinking to help you phrase it properly. All right, let's move on to the next question. Part D, the last part. D part 1 and D part 2. Okay, so we have talked about hazards, and I asked you to use a textbook to pick out what are the things mentioned about hazards. So Leon is going to hazards and managing hazards. Okay, so remember we talked about in class, one of the hazards is traffic hazards in Singapore neighborhoods. Okay, so figure 2 shows information about traffic accidents in Singapore for the first half of 2020 and 2021. So you see the changes, 2020, 2021, what's the percentage change? So you have the impacts, you have the causes. Okay, so describe the trends in the causes and impacts from 2020 to 2021. All right, so it's a 3 mark question, and they asked me to describe 2 things. So the first one will be describe the causes. Okay, so generally majority is what? Most or all the causes will happen. The trends means change over time. Okay, so you must tell me did it increase, did it decrease, and when you increase, you must tell me your adjective, is it huge or slight? Okay, did it increase or decrease? Okay, and then you also need to back it up with evidence. You can give me an average or both, also can. All right, then this is 1 mark. Then you must also describe your impact. Okay, what happened to most of the impact? Did it increase or decrease? And don't forget your adjective. and back with evidence. So there'll be 1 mark. Okay, last mark, you can tell me there's different ways to approach it. Some people tell what is when one change happened to the other. Okay, so the relationship between causes and effect. Okay, then the impact, what happened to it. All right, you can also talk about anomaly, anything that don't follow all these general things you talked about. All right, so this could be the 3rd mark also can. Okay, so this is how you can approach this question. 1 mark to talk about the causes, 1 mark to talk about the impact, and 1 mark you can talk about the relationship, or you can talk about the anomalies. Either one is fine. Okay, now next question, part 2. You have photograph C and D. So you are asked to explain, many explain because we want you all to work on your weakness Okay, so there's a safety feature here, before and after. You can see some changes to here. You need to go and find out what's the safety feature. So you need to explain how the safety feature, okay, that's the first step, can help to manage the causes and impact of traffic accidents, shown in figure 2. Okay, so figure 2, you had all these causes and impact, right? Like fatalities, injuries, that's the impact. The causes is speeding, drink driving, red light running. So with this, right, how does it help with the causes and impacts? Okay, so 3 mark, probably you must say that, you must tell me what's the feature first. Remember, always start with the first step. Okay, then how does it lead to, what does it do to causes? What does it lead to the impacts? Okay, so 1 mark here, 1 mark here, 1 mark here. All right, so now we have done our analysis of the question, the planning, and we have checked whether it answers the question. Okay, so ask me causes and impact. We have talked about causes, impact. Here describe, we have given details. Okay, next one, they ask us to explain spatial association leads to enhancing everyday living. Okay, we have answered the question. Then whether is it logical sequence, you have to go and manage it yourself. Describe relationship. Okay, so we have we're describing relationship. We have 4 possible marks of answers. And here explain something, the space. What's the space? How does it contribute to sense of place, meaning or memory? So we have answered the question. Okay, so by right, when you check is before you write out each answer, you check lah. Okay, so APC is supposed to be done in each question, then you write out your answer for each question. So not check one shot like this, just running through with you to make sure. Okay, so I hope you have a better idea how to do your GA, and all the best. I'd love to see your answers soon.